Josh Allen had a bad game. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick, and today we're going to say things that are obvious. Thank you to everybody who likes and subscribes. If you like what I say, keep subscribing, keep liking. If you don't like what I say, then I suppose there's no need for you to like and subscribe, although I would still appreciate it, and who knows, maybe you could get a high off being angry at the things I say. For those longtime listeners of the podcast, you know I am a longtime diehard Buffalo Bills fan. Lifelong. In my long 32, almost 33 years. And on Monday, it happened. Josh Allen had one of his no good, very bad games. It was atrocious. I didn't even watch, and I knew it was atrocious. In retrospect, I know that's why the Bills lost, is because I wasn't watching. I was in an acting class at the time. I should have worn my Bills jersey. I did not. And I know now that that is why the Bills lost. I am deeply ashamed of my actions, and I will do better in the future. But Josh Allen lost. I don't think it's fair to say that the Bills lost. I think it is fair to say that Josh Allen lost that game. I am very much a proponent of the fact that an individual player rarely loses games. Teams lose games, but Josh lost that game. He threw 3 interceptions. He fumbled. He connected on 70% of his passes, but only one of them was for a touchdown. I mean, it was a bad game by his standards. But wait, I said by his standards. Why? Because this taps into a broader concept that we need to be aware of. It's called the recency bias. At least I think that's what it's called. But it's the phenomenon of what have you done for me lately? We really only remember or appreciate the things that you've done for us in recent times. Now, anybody who knows anything about football is well aware that Joshua Patrick Allen is one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league. And he's not number 1. I'll give that to Patrick Mahomes. But the 2 and 3 spots between him and Joe Burrow go back and forth. Now, Patrick Mahomes is in a different stratosphere. I wish I could take that away from him. I can't. He's just different. He's crazy accurate. He's crazy accurate on the move. And even he will have bad games. He did not have a bad game this week, even though his team lost. Joe Burrow had a terrible game. He was injured. The conditions were bad, blah, 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 blah. He threw for less than 100 yards and hit on less than 55% of his passes. That is an atrocious game in any weather conditions. Josh Allen also had an atrocious game. But they had bad games. Does that make them bad quarterbacks? No. The recency bias is something that really is important for us to keep in mind, not just in the sports world, but in general. Let's broaden the scope a little bit. I accidentally steal something from a store. This is a hypothetical now. I haven't stolen anything from a store. But let's say I steal something from a store. I make a bad decision. I don't accidentally take something and it's in my bag and I just don't notice it. I make the decision to grab something and not pay for it. I have stolen something. I have made a bad decision. Does that make me a bad person? Well, if you only judged me based on my most recent decision, the answer is yes. But the answer is always much more complicated than that. It's why defense attorneys stand up in court and talk about their client's good qualities. They're trying to get the jury to see a more complex person than the one who committed the crime that they're being accused of. Now, obviously, in terms of the criminal world, Whether or not you're a bad person really has very little to do with whether or not you committed a crime. If you committed a crime, you do have to face justice for it. What I'm saying is, does that make you an awful human being? On the grand scale of things, probably not. But if recency bias wasn't important, you wouldn't see prosecutors trying to dump bad qualities onto a criminal, and you wouldn't see defense attorneys trying to dump as many good qualities onto the criminal. Onto the alleged criminal, I should say. In a much lower stakes situation, that's the way you have to remember. That's the way you have to think about recency bias in things like entertainment. And I'm going to say entertainment to include sports. Sports, actors, musicians, whatever, right? Let's take musicians. A very famous musician drops a brand new album. They're super excited about it. They worked really hard on it. And it's garbage. Like, it's terrible. It sells no copies. A few diehard fans say it's the most complex thing they've ever heard. And it's just bad. That doesn't make them a bad musician. Certainly their latest album was bad. But they aren't bad at what they do. We see this with actors a lot too. Great young actor comes charging out the gate. First movie is excellent. Second movie is excellent. Third movie is a commercial hit. Fourth movie is some artistic nonsense that doesn't make sense coming off the page. That doesn't make them a bad actor. Same thing with the screenwriter. A screenwriter has a first short that comes out. The short is excellent. Their first feature film wins awards. They write a TV series. It drops. It's incredible. And they do another TV series and it's not good. Just not good, commercially or critically. That doesn't make them bad at what they do. It does mean they made a bad product. Athletes is the same thing. Elite level athletes have bad days. We view those bad days under a microscope because we attach ourselves emotionally to the outcomes of these individual games. But these guys are at their job. They're punching in the clock and they're going to work. I see ridiculous comments all the time after bad games for players that are like, oh, he should be spending less time working on commercials and more time focusing on the football. Okay, do you know how long these guys spend actually filming the commercials that they're in? Do you think they're on set for a month at a time? No. These guys might be on set for a commercial for like 24 hours. All the work that it takes to get a commercial put together, the actor or the actor, the athlete, they're not involved. They show up for the filming of the commercial. That's the only part they need to be there for. And they show up for that part. And then they go away. They don't take acting classes. They don't need to take acting classes. These guys do nothing but live and breathe the sport of their choice all year round. They are elite level athletes. They have a bad game. They have a bad game. And in the case of somebody, circling back to the beginning of the conversation, in the case of somebody like Josh Allen, his bad games are horrendous. But why? Because he is a gunslinging alien. He can make every throw on the field probably within 80 yards of the line of scrimmage. Some days, that gets away from him. And he pulls the trigger a little too early, or he pulls the trigger a little too late. Because he thinks he's going to make something happen and take the roof off the stadium. You can't train that mentality out of someone, but why would you want to? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I submit to you, when you think of someone, and not just when you think of people in the entertainment world, when you think of anyone in your life, Do not judge them by what has happened, by what they have done most recently. Judge them by what you know of that person. Or, if you don't know the person, have a little empathy and think about who that person must be to other people in their life. Think about that. And we'll all have a little bit more empathy, and I won't angrily rant into a microphone about this topic ever again. That's unlikely, because the 10 more minutes about a topic with Nick seem to do quite well. But for the moment, I'm done ranting about the recency bias. Joshua Patrick Allen, you are my hero. I should rephrase that. You're not really my hero. You are my favorite quarterback since Jim Kelly. Keep playing for the Bills. Keep doing your thing. We ride or die with you here in the city of Buffalo. Stephon Diggs, I don't care if you catch 40 yards. I don't care if you catch 120 yards. You are the best wide receiver in the league, and you're a dog. Guys, get over recency. Think about things historically. You'll be much happier for it. That's all I have to say. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Like and subscribe if you like what I said. If you don't like this particular podcast, go back and listen to the other ones. Get over the recency bias. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. That was a really awkward smile I just gave. Have a nice day.